So I guess this means I've started a BookTube account. Welcome to my channel. I'm Jess. I read and review lots of thriller books. I have my own Bookstagram and BookTok already, so I thought why not add a BookTube into the mix, the fun of it. This is my one of two bookcases. It is a thin one and then I've got a larger one behind me, but that's got all the books I've read. So this is basically my TBR shelf. We've got a lot on there. My first YouTube video, I'd start with a 66 books haul. I went recently and I got 10 books, but I only paid £35 instead of like 118. So girl math, it was so worth it. So let's dive into it. So I'm gonna start with paperbacks, and first I'm going to do the batch that are either by authors I know and love or ones that have been recommended, and I'm going to do my random picks, and then I'm going to do the hardbacks. Hardbacks are the best ones because, well, you'll see why in a minute. So good. So the first book I picked up was The One by John Mars. I have not read this book. I've only read The Marriage Act by him and I really enjoyed that. I'm pretty sure this one is part of the same series. I read somewhere they can be read as standalone, so let's hope that comes to be true. Otherwise, I'm a bit scuppered. So this one's about basically a DNA test to find your perfect partner, and then everyone, or not everyone, lots of people meet their soulmates. Obviously, all your soulmates are going to have secrets and lies, and who do you really trust? It's got them sort of vibes to it. And this one I picked up just because I've read one John Mars book and heard they're really good, so picked this one up. I think it was $2.99 instead of $9.99, so I had to get this one. If you don't know, 66 Books is a huge warehouse in Hemel Hempstead, just north of London. All the books are 70% off. Do 2 weekends every month where they're open for the public, and you can come in, fill your trolleys up, or your bags or whatever, and get as much as you like, I'm pretty sure. I only picked up 10 books though. On to the next one. Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson. This one was recommended to me by a family member. Not read any S.J. Watson books. I think this is their most popular one. And from the blurb, it sounds like Christine goes to sleep and loses her memory every night, wakes up, can't remember a thing. That sounds like such a good plot. It kind of sounds a bit familiar to Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. Remember in that one, she would wake up and then she'd go back in time and gradually remember more stuff. So it's kind of like that, but reversed. So this one, I've heard good things. I can't wait to read it. Book number 3. I am aware that this is part of a series. The Accomplice by Steve Cavanna. I don't know how you pronounce that, I'm so sorry. So this is part of the Eddie Flynn series. I think there's about 7 books in the series. I've got 3, I think. Might be a spoiler of what else is in this video. But from what I know, all of the Eddie Flynn series is basically Eddie Flynn, who is like the legal lawyer who helps convicts, people in trial to get out of it, basically. That's what I know about this series. I've heard his work is really good, so I had to pick this one up. Again, it was $2.99, I'm pretty sure, so say no more. Leading nicely on from that book is 50/50 by Steve Cavanna. This one, I read the blurb when I was there, and it's basically 2 sisters who said the other person their dad. So one of them is a liar and one of them is an unaliver, so which do you think is which? I mean, that sounds like such a good plot. I cannot wait to read this one. Also quite a cool cover, as far as thriller books go anyway. I've read a few books by Claire McGowan, and I've never actually seen this one, but I think the ones I've read from her have been on Kindle Unlimited, so I've not actually read that many physical ones. So this one is about a remote island that becomes inaccessible. It's basically a forensic psychologist that gets called to this island to investigate a crime, and the tide rushes in and she has to decide either to stay at the island or to leave and not investigate. Don't know how that goes, but I'm going to presume she stays on the island, otherwise that's going to be a pretty short book. This one is actually 300 pages, so that's still quite a chunky book. It was $8.99, so I paid whatever 70% of that is, £2 something. But again, really excited to read this one. I love the cover as well, that like ombre font. Love it. Next book is The Resort by Sue Watson. I have read 1 or 2 books by Sue Watson. This was kind of picked up because I kind of know the author. Again, this book sounded really good as well. So it's set on a holiday island resort. The main character's husband calls her and says the waitress has been found unalived. And then the police want to question the husband about it. So I'm like, did he do it? Did he see something? I'm going to have to read it to find out, aren't I? But I love them kind of books. It's like, do you trust the characters? Do you not? I'm not sure. We'll find out. So the next 2 are books that I haven't heard of the author before, but I read the blurb and they sounded interesting. My criteria for getting books of 66 books was authors I actually know, their titles I know, or the blurbs actually sound interesting to me and I will read them. So that is why I got these two. First one is by Laura Jarrett and the title is just Mother. Mother, help me. This one, I mean, this one kind of sounded disgusting. I picked it up and my friend is like, you're actually going to read that? And I was like, yeah. Basically, the main character, Lizzie, her car crashes and her two daughters are inside and she has to basically decide which one of them to save. I mean, I thought that's what happened. I've just actually read the blurb. I don't think that is what happens. It just says, when Lizzie's car crashes with her two daughters inside, she faces a terrible choice. I've always presumed that meant she was picking between one of the kids, but now I'm not sure. So I've kind of just backfired my point of I read the blurb and I liked the sound of it, but we're still going to read it. The next one is The Vacancy by Elizabeth Carpenter. This one is about someone who's running from her past and becomes a live-in assistant to an author. I love books that are about bookish stuff or writing, authors, anything like that. I love them. And then the author's manuscript starts sounding a lot like the other character's actual life and she starts getting really confused about how that's possible, and I think it just delves into that and her trying to figure it out basically, but that one sounded really good. Now we are on to, well, I would say hardbacks, but we've got a paperback in here as well and I can't resist keeping this paperback any longer. Honestly, there were 6 of these on the shelf. I do not know how I lucked out on this. Like, it's not in the most pristine condition, like it's got a few lumps and bumps to it, and then I went back because basically I saw it, got so excited, picked it up, put it in my basket, went off, then thought, oh, this isn't in the best condition, went back to where I found it, they were all gone. So if you go into 66 books and you see someone you want, get it, or it'll fly. This is the paperback edition, but it's like the huge size ones, just for comparison size wise. It's kind of got a bit of a floppiness to it. Funny thing about this is I still haven't read Fourth Wing or Iron Flame. I've got them on my bookshelf down there, but I saw this and I was like, well, I've got the first 2, so I've got to get the third one, obviously. So I had to add this. I'm not going to read the blurb because if you know anything about the series, you'll know what it's about. Cover's really pretty as well. So that was that one. It was $16.99 RRP, but 70% off of that is, I think, about a £5, which is not a bad price at all for a ginormous paperback. So I'm very happy with this one. Yes, that is another book by Steve Cavanagh because the first 2 weren't enough. I'm pretty sure these are all the same series, so actually I think that's okay. Then when I got home I realised they're like the last 3 books in the series and I've missed the first 4, so maybe not so okay. But yeah, another thing about 66 books, the signal when you're down there is a bit hit and miss. So obviously I was on Storygraph trying to find out whether these were all the same series, what order they were, and I couldn't really look. So if there is any particular authors you're looking for, or like serial orders, I'd write them down in your phone notes or something, just in case you don't get signal there. Check for Wi-Fi. I didn't think of looking, something to be aware of. If you want me to do another video on 66 books, tips, tricks, advice, drop any questions in the comments and I'll put that up as another video if it's got any interest. Back to this book. This is Witness 8. It's a hardback, which is kind of annoying they're not paperback and hardback in the same series, but that's my doing for picking this up really. This is basically about a nanny who witnesses a unaliving on the street. She knows who did it, she knows the victim, but she doesn't tell the cops because she's got her own secrets. And this is basically about Eddie Flynn, the lawyer who helps her out, I'm pretty sure. Nope, Eddie Flynn defends, the word, Eddie defends an innocent man. That's what happens in this one. But yeah, I can't wait to read this. Again, this was supposed to be $16.99, so I think I paid £5 for this. Again, bargain. And the final book of the 10-book haul that we is Business Trip by Jessie Garcia. I have seen this all over my socials. I'm pretty sure this is an American author. So I've seen people like going over to the US just to buy this. I'm like, gal, you're crazy. So I saw this and I was like, wait a minute. And then I looked in here and it's got first published in the US. I don't know how they got this one into the UK, but it's not the US cover either. I'll put a photo on here if I can find one of the US cover. The US one is like, it's grey and it's got a zip down the middle. So I wasn't sure if this was the same book I was thinking of when I saw it, but I'm guessing this is the UK cover. Yeah, I can't wait to read this one. I've seen good reviews. I've seen a few not so good ones, but I think I paid RRP 20, so I think I paid £6 for this, which for a hardback is a really good price. It's basically two women who get on this flight, complete strangers, and then they get texts from their friends about the same man they've both met on the flight. Apparently it's really, really twisty, and I love a book with a good twist, so I can't wait to read this one. So that is my haul. I am just quickly going to stack them up so you can see every single one that I got, or how well these are going to balance either, guys, I'm not going to lie. So this is my 66 books haul complete. These were £35 total, so that means these cost £3.50 each, which is incredible. So yeah, that is my 66 books haul. If you've got any 66 books questions, any recommendations of which of these I should read first or prioritise or not prioritise, let me know. And thank you guys so much, if you're still here, for watching my whole first YouTube video. If you want to subscribe, go ahead, like, share, comment, whatever. Yeah, and I'll hope to see you guys again soon for another video.